weekend's just the best. So many possibilities. You know, you can just relax a little, maybe even change up the brekkie routine, possibly even time for pancakes. And you know, you've got 2 whole days ahead of you. Just think of what you can achieve. You know, with a little bit of effort, you could even make over an entire room in the house. But you know what they say, an army doesn't march on an empty stomach. Pancakes must come first. So often on the show, I'm doing up rooms that really do need a makeover. But you know, in this case, there's nothing really wrong with the bedroom. The owners just want a fresh new change. I can see they like their little touches of details and layers of luxury, so I want to work with that and make the space just a little more edgy. Now, I love this vintage, so I'll keep that going. Just play that up a little, mixing the old with the new, and adding more depth and layering. Because that's the luxury look everyone's going for these days. First job of the day, painting the ceiling. By painting it a fresh coat of white, it helps to bounce light around the room and opens up the whole space. After all, the ceiling really is the 5th wall of the room. You really can't beat paint for an almost instant makeover in any room, but choosing just the right colour, well, that can be tricky. If you're going for whites, in my opinion, avoid the whites with a yellow undertone if you want a crisp, modern look. The one I'm using here is called Lexicon Quarter Strength. It's actually the whitest white that Dulux make. Looking better already. Good job I had all those pancakes. The most common wash and wear sheen level is actually low sheen. That's what's been popular right up until now. But the new kid on the block is actually matte paint. It's one of my favourites. It dries really soft and velvety, but is actually quite hard to manage generally because you have to scrub it and it really isn't very durable. But with new paint formulas, well, you can have your cake and eat it too. I really love the shape of this bed, but I don't love the factory finish. What I want it to look like is one of those vintage, authentic old bed frames, and I can get that look with paint. You must sand it first and then prime it with a good quality primer. The top coat is a Duramax enamel. It's long-lasting and dries really fast. These little bedside tables have such a great shape and they've got really nice character. The only thing wrong with them, I think, is the colour is just not quite right for our fresh, crisp colour scheme. So what I want to do is kind of keep with this look by just going over the top with this chalky paint finish. Just in the vivid white, it'll bring them up beautifully. So to finish them off, they don't actually need very much, just a little bit of sandpaper, not too coarse. I'm just going around these edges and raised bits, even on the handles. This little old blanket box, well, it was found on the side of a road where you can't beat the price, bit of a bargain, and great storage for the bedroom and works perfectly for the foot of the bed. We're going to reupholster the top, and I'm giving the box itself a more edgy look with this metal shimmer paint. Small upholstery jobs like this are really not that tricky, but you want to have a good base to work on. So I've had some foam cut to size. Just go over that with some lining fabric or some calico. Now it's on with the top fabric. This is my beautiful velvet. Just staple that down, and then to hide those edges, I'm just gluing on some gimp, otherwise known as braid. So the last part of this vintage look is to go over the dried black paint with this Gold Effects, which kind of when you dab it on and get to it before it's had time to dry just with a soft rag, you can actually see, looks like an authentic bronze. I'm really happy with that. If you're toying with the idea of a deep colour in the bedroom, but you're afraid to commit all over, why not draw a line around the room like I've done here? I've just masked off a section and I'm painting the whole of the lower part of the bedroom in this beautiful deep grey. And if you're wondering, is grey on trend? Well, yes, you'll see it in all of the magazines this season. This particular colour called Flooded Gum has a really nice warm undertone, a great backdrop for lots of accent colours. Ugly windows, air conditioners, we all have something in a room that we really don't love. Well, there's not a lot you can do about these things, but there is a little decorator's trick you can do to disguise them. So you can add a shelf from wall to wall and fill it with some of your favourite things. That way your eye will be distracted to what you love and not what you don't. So here's a controversial subject. How many pillows do you actually need on a bed? For me, sitting up in an iron bed like this reading would be pretty uncomfortable without Euro pillows, so I like to put a couple of those at the back. So mix up the colours, mix up the textures, that adds the interest. Now for actual sleeping, some people like two. I think two always look better on a bed once it's made. Again, you don't have to go matchy-matchy, mix up the colours, it adds that layer of interest. A couple of scatter pillows in front, well, that picks up the accent colour throughout. And then for the bottom of the bed, you might like to add a throw, or in winter, really cozy it up, one of these gorgeous hides. Most people would assume that white and grey would be a really cold colour scheme, but as you can see here, it's actually rich and so inviting. Now the reason why it works is we've created a really layered look, not only with the colours on the walls, but also with all of these gorgeous textures. We've got elements from nature, always a great way to add warmth to a room, but the accent colour here is brass, which we've carried through the accessories right down to the bed linens. This is a very modern luxe look.